Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about a real dilemma that's hitting the top end of the market in London. Now, you might not be in the top end of the market in London and think, well, why is this relevant to me? Because that's not where I buy my property and I'm not ever going to get to the top end of the London market. Well, the thing is, a lot of stuff starts in London and rolls out to other areas. And what you'll see when I show you these stats is that it doesn't stack up to buy a property in London at the top end at the moment. And that's because of the stamp duty increase. In fact, I'm going to show you how crazy that is and how if you're a foreign investor, you just wouldn't buy. You really have been priced out of the market here by this stamp duty increase. Now, the lower end of the market should look at this as well because these things roll down and the government ultimately is going to tax us more over the next few months. We've got a budget coming up. We've got a government that's got no money. They're looking for places to raid, and stamp duty is one that they've already said, look, we're happy to increase this on investors, on first-time buyers, on pretty much everybody in the UK. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how this has impacted the top end, why this could impact the middle and lower end of the market as well over the next few years. So if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're a property channel that gives you all the latest property news, house price news, interest rate news, and much, much more. And by subscribing, what's in it for you is that you'll get the latest house price news, interest rate news, everything as soon as it happens. And let's get some more views on this video. Your part is simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and that really does help the channel grow, and I really appreciate everyone that does that. So just in case you're wondering where I am, that's not my house, unfortunately. We're in Carcassonne in France for 2 weeks, but we are staying there. So we've rented this place with family and friends. We're out here for a couple of weeks. It's been a really good time so far. And in between doing things, right now, my little baby Amelie, her mum is doing her dinner. So I've gone for a little walk and I'm giving you these updates as we have that. So what is going on? Well, properties that were eligible for stamp duty prior to April, because you had the properties below 100,000 odd weren't included when they are now, it was 49% of house price sales had some sort of stamp duty tax on them. That's a lot, but there was still a lot that were exempt from that. Now it's 83%. That's crazy how many more properties got brought into stamp duty by these increases that we had that happened very recently. So because of that, that means it's a lot more expensive to buy a property. On average, it's around £2,500 extra to buy a property. But if you are in London, obviously the average is going to be much, much higher. It's a lot more expensive, obviously. And if you're buying one of these very big properties, it really, 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 really does make a difference. And so the London top end of the market has been hit very, very hard recently. You've got a few reasons for that. You've got a lot of millionaires and billionaires that have just left the country. We're bleeding millionaires and billionaires. And some people will say, good, get rid of them. We don't need them. But we do. We do need them. We do need the tax that they contribute to our economy. While that might be a lower percentage, it's still a lot of money that these people do contribute to society. And if they're not paying it, then that's going to roll down to lower income people that will have to have hikes in their tax. And that's what you're going to see in the budget this year. So in October, you're going to see that tax rates are going to go up, and that's going to be a problem. And that's going to hit businesses really hard. Businesses are already laying off people at the moment. You've got businesses laying off people because minimum wage went up, because national insurance went up, because business rates went up, because energy costs went up, and the economy's slowing. So look, this isn't really a glorious thing to be happening. but we do have to look at what's happening at the top end of the market. So here's an example. If you were to buy a property for 20 million pounds in London, maybe you've won the Euro Millions, or you've become very good at property investing and you've been in the market for a while, or you sold a business. There's lots of different reasons people get to that level. Well, if you're a UK resident, your stamp duty bill would be 2.3 million pounds. That's that's a lot of money, isn't it? You're going to get a lot of police and teachers with that. So 2.3 million pounds. But if you are a foreign investor, and I think this is fair that you should have to pay some more tax if you're a foreign investor, you would pay 3.7 million pounds for that 20 million pound property. Makes sense so far, I'm sure, right? So, okay, that's a huge chunk of money. How much would it cost to rent a 20 million pounds property in London? It costs about 500 grand a year to rent that kind of property, a 20 million pound property, 500,000 pounds per year. So that means that the foreign investor could effectively rent for 8 years. 8 years. And it would still only be where their stamp duty bill currently sits. So what's the incentive to buy? There isn't really. And that's why that top end of the market in London is very slow. If not, it's not moving at all at the moment. We've been talking about that, and that's bringing down some of the average house prices at the moment. They're just sitting on there for years and years and years, those top end properties. And think about the UK investor or the UK home buyer wants to buy a 20 million pound property in London. Well, they could just rent for 4 years for the cost of their stamp duty bill. Now, like I said at the beginning, I'm not asking for sympathy for rich people that are buying 20 million pound houses, but what I'm saying is watch how this stuff rolls down to the medium-sized properties and in other areas of the UK as well, as stamp duty maybe goes up. This isn't great news for anybody. In fact, we want these big houses to sell because a million, let's just say it was the old stamp duty and maybe they got 1.8 million. I'd rather that property sold and the government got 1.8 million rather than the property just sitting there with nobody buying it, because if nobody buys it, we don't get any tax. And so making this stamp duty so expensive at that top end might seem smart, but if no transactions happen, we're actually collecting less tax. That means less schools, less police, all the funding that we need, less paying down the government debt. It isn't smart. And so the video point here is to highlight to you guys that it's not great at the top end, and often that stuff does roll down. So keep an eye on what's happening. Let me know what you think about this. If you were going to buy a 20 million pound property, let's just say you're a foreign investor, it's 8 years worth of rent. Would you just rent for 500 grand a year instead? Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you haven't grabbed our new guide, How to Find the Best Mortgage in 2025, 1,500 people have so far. I'm going to put it in the description of this video and I'm going to put it in the first comment. Do make sure you grab a copy of that while you're here. It's an absolute great in-depth guide on how to get the best broker, all the stuff you need to do to get the best mortgage deal. When do you start the process of getting a mortgage, and much, much more. It's all the questions that you guys asked me on here. Make sure as well you check out all the other content on this channel, including this video right here.